guys. Well, you've made it. This is week 14 and the final learning module is open. There's just a few things left to do. Some of them are a bit demanding, but there is another topic to cover, and that's Mesoamerica. I'll have the first lecture up very soon, by the end of the day probably. This is Tuesday. And what you should be focusing on this week, definitely do the readings. Start at the beginning with the vocabulary and the Mesoamerica readings, and watch the videos. They're interesting and they'll give you a lot of social context, as well as the lecture as soon as it becomes available. But the big project you should be working on is finishing your research paper. It's due on Monday the 7th, and the Mesoamerica discussion. The Mesoamerica discussion does include some reference to Norse religion and mythology, so you might want to go back and review that a little bit to do the discussion. And once you get those two out of the way, then you should work on your sacred site presentation. So if you've not done a sacred site, it should be done remotely, unless there's some way that you could do it safely in person. I have had students go to, for example, Gran Corvera or Abo ruins here in New Mexico. Those are pretty remote places, and this time of year you could probably do it without encountering other people or very, very few other people. But outside of that, the goal is to visit a sacred site remotely, which gives you the opportunity to visit temples and graveyards and ceremonies all around the world. Preference is given for visits that are conducted live streaming rather than something that's archived. A festival that happened 8 years ago is not nearly as current and interesting as something that's happening now. So once you've done your sacred site visit, there are two assignments that you need to fulfill. The first is to write your report, and that will be submitted just like a regular assignment. So write your report, look at the prompt before you do your visit, write your report, and submit it there. The second assignment is your presentation. So your presentation can be a document, it can be a video, it can be a Prezi or a PowerPoint, it can be any of those things. The presentation should have an audio or a visual component to it. Blackboard probably won't let you upload a whole video, but you can put the video on YouTube and provide a link for it, or another platform and provide a link for it. The same is true of the PowerPoint. You can do your PowerPoint on Google Docs and then provide a link for it. So that would probably make it more easier for you to get it onto Blackboard, because I know Blackboard's a little limited in the size of files that you can upload. You can also just create a document where you talk about your experience visiting the sacred site, where you went, what it was like, what makes it sacred, to whom is it sacred, and then add either a video link in the document or some pictures in the document, and you're good. So those are the main assignments that are still due. And then there's the final. The final will be open by the end of the week, and you can take it at any time. The final is not cumulative. It will only cover Norse and Mesoamerica. So, so you'll need to go back and study those intensively. Look at your Norse quiz, see how you did on that, and go from there. So I hope you guys are having a great end of term, that you were safe, and yet enjoyed yourself over the holiday, and I look forward to seeing you all around.